Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and we've got panic setting in. At least that's what it seems like to me. XRP got down to as low as 35 cents. That's the lowest I personally have seen it today. It's currently a little over 36 cents, but just in scrolling through my Twitter feed, there's some people that are enthusiastic, like, hey, buy an opportunity, just bought some XRP, but there are some people that are not too thrilled with this, so I want to cover a little bit of the price action with you today. I'm also going to speak on a little bit of just general adoption of cryptocurrency at large, especially as it pertains to institutional investors. We've got word that Visa's involved in a custody project. Coinbase is working on an insurance solution, launching its own crypto insurance company, so going to cover that. And got a couple fun tweets from Peter Schiff. It's always cute when he wants to talk about crypto, and I like the guy, so I'm going to share his most recent thoughts on the crypto asset class, and specifically Bitcoin, of course, because that's always fun here. I also do want to say, I actually meant to mention this in the last video. I wanted to give a shout out to Vijay, V-I-J-A-Y, and if you're listening, I hope I said your name correctly. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm sorry. Sometimes I do struggle with foreign names, but it's not intentional if I am mispronouncing that. But Vijay, he sent me via XRP Tipbot a tweet, not a tweet, Jesus. He sent out an XRP tip using XRP Tipbot, which was completely unexpected, and nobody had done that based on anything I've done on YouTube before, and so it really just made my day. It really did. I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. Somebody values what I'm doing here. This is so cool. And I have no expectation of that whatsoever, but it was so unexpected, and it's so appreciated also that I just had to just send a sincere thank you publicly. I had to do it in a video. I really appreciate that. So if you're listening, Vijay, thank you so much, and I really appreciate your support. Thank you so much for listening as well. That was just too kind of you and completely, again, unexpected. But onto the content portion here. So XRP, again, a little over 36 cents. Then you got Bitcoin here, and this is funny. This piece is from earlier today. Bitcoin price recovers 85% of recent losses with move above $13,000. Well, we know that didn't last, did it? Bitcoin is currently at 12,187, and so they had a couple bullet points here. Bitcoin continues to chart bullish higher lows and higher highs on short duration charts, favoring a retest of the recent high of 13,880. Move to 13,880 may take time if prices drop below key support of 12,538, which did happen. As I just stated, we're at about 12,100, and said that would allow a deeper pullback to $12,000, which is about where we are right now. And it states also, third bullet point, a high volume UTC close below $12,000 would invalidate the short-term bullish setup, although that looks unlikely here. Okay, and so I just people are doing what people do. And I want to share a tweet from Crypto Bitlord in just a second here. But look, humans are going to behave like humans, like I keep saying. And for me, if it were my buying day, this would be an excellent buying day. In just my opinion, this is not financial advice. None of this is financial advice. I'm just sharing my opinion. But to me, this would be a great buying day since the price has dropped again. I buy on a pretty set schedule here, and it's regardless of price. It can be up, it can be down, and I'll continue to do that until there's a parabolic run. The way that I'm looking at this, for those of you that haven't heard this, because there are a lot of new subscribers coming on board, I just want to say it again real quickly. The way that I view this, and part of the reason, there's a ton of reasons I have confidence, but one, as it pertains to the jostling of the markets, the volatility day to day, it doesn't bother me because I understand that this is just how humans behave, in particular when there's a new market. And we saw this with the whole internet boom and bust cycle when the stock market had market cap like $6 trillion or something. When there's a new technology and people don't know how things are going to play out, people get silly with money. And so everybody, people want to be involved. Like, yes, there's something to this. There's something to this. We just don't know how everything's going to pan out. And so for me, given that I can see that in general, the whole asset class is moving up and down with the price of Bitcoin, relatively speaking, you could be in almost any coin and you're going to see tandem price action. Now, you might ask, well then, Matt, if that's the case, why don't you just buy into other coins too? If there's some maybe smaller mid-cap ones where you could see higher returns. Yeah, maybe that's true, maybe. But I don't care because I'm a long-term guy that doesn't do trading. So for me, what I decide is right for me. If you can trade if you want, I'm not going to engage in it because people lose. 95% of traders lose money. That's the stat on it. I'm not going to engage in it. And I'm only willing to put my money behind projects that I believe have actual utility, which is why it's pretty much all just 100% at this point anyway, going into XRP because I believe projects with utility, the coins with utility are the ones that are just going to be around for a very, very, very long time. That's my very humble opinion there. And so I don't worry about missing on short-term gains. I don't think that people panic selling in a market where, people don't know what's going to happen decades out. To me, that just doesn't scare me. This is humans behaving in a way that I'm expecting them to behave. So is this going to spook me and make me question my XRP investment? No, but I am counting it on spooking other people that don't get the big picture. This is just my opinion again. I expect other people to get spooked, and that's part of what allows the market price to go up over time, and that's fine. And that's how markets work in the stock market, for example, too. If people lose confidence, they sell, but others see something that the people that sold didn't. Perhaps they think that there's an opportunity for more of an upward swing, and that's why overall, if you look at the S&P 500, it increases in value by a rate of about 8% per year. If you look at its appreciation over the S&P 500 from 1957 to the close of 2018, it was about 8%, not including inflation. So it's going up. People think that there's opportunities, and so I'm seeing the same thing here with the crypto asset class. I just think that it's, in terms of growth opportunity, it's going to be like the stock market on steroids. When the stock market's doing well, it's still like that, but on steroids, because humans get in a frenzy and when it comes to new technology like this, and this is a global phenomenon. So I'm happy to wait, and I do believe at some point there's going to be this, and it may be a slow breakaway. I don't know. It's just going to, some people are going to be like, oh, okay, we're now only valuing coins that have utility. Well, it doesn't work like that, because it's going to take time for people to figure out which ones will be the winners and losers. And I'm betting with my own money that XRP will be one of them. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am, based on to all the knowledge available today. But yeah, I think that it's going to be more like a slow breakaway in terms of maybe we're not as interested in some of these smaller cap coins that don't have any support behind them and aren't seemingly going anywhere because nobody's building on top of those particular blockchains. And so I'm going to keep watching this. Everything's fluid, and if anything changed in a negative capacity regarding the XRP adoption or something like that, well, I'm going to tell you. I mean, you'd want to know that, right? I'd share with you if something bad happened, and that would affect my investment style accordingly. But outside of the fundamentals changing, I'm here. I don't care about this panic up and down, and I see the rest of the world coming in, which I'm about to talk about just a little bit later in this video. Again, there's more evidence, and I'm going to share. I hope it comes out in news like this every day. I will share every piece I can with you that proves that this is the direction we're going. And so when I see all this short-term fear, I'm just like, man, I feel for you. It's not like I want anybody in fear, but I'm counting on some percentage of people just behaving like that, which creates the opportunity for everybody else. It's basically people disagreeing. Now, on the flip side, what if they're right? Then I lose everything. So it's not like it's all one-sided here. It's like it's like two different sides, the Bulls and the Bears. Different opinions. Who's right, though? And I think I'm right. That's what I'm saying. So if you take a look here, and this oh man, this one really, like, I feel bad for this guy, because somebody tweeted something out that's really upset, but Crypto Bitlord had a really good point on this, so I wanted to share it. There's this guy on Twitter. He is @bones_XRP, and he tweeted this out. I'm going to have to censor it. Before I leave Twitter, I just want to say a big FU to all the XRP influencers who have been miserably wrong about everything. It's not your fault that I listened to you, but I still hate you and hope you all get hit by a bus. Ciao. So I'm assuming that there's a lot of emotion leading him to say something as, kind of offensive as that, I guess. So if this guy did lose a bunch of money, then I can be sympathetic to that. But this is the type of mindset that I'm talking about. It completely discounts everything that I said in terms of long-term adoption of crypto and actual utility. If you throw those things out the window, then yeah, the short-term price action, it makes sense that you'd be frustrated by something like this. And so Crypto Bitlord retweeted this, and he's got quite a following here. Let's see, 102,000 followers, and he seems... I've seen comments from him that are both pro-XRP and anti-XRP, so I don't know where this guy stands for sure. I've seen both from him, but he tweeted this out, and this rang true with me, so I thought I'd share it regardless of whether or not this guy is big picture completely pro, completely con, or somewhere in between. But he retweeted this tweet from Bones XRP and said, "Getting closer now." That's exactly in line with what I've been talking about. I firmly agree with this mindset. So it's just the concept that some people are going to get spooked, which will create buying opportunities. Traders will move in, along with some long-term speculators, of course. I'm going to continue to buy until there's a parabolic move, and then I'll sit on the sidelines for a while. But But what's going to happen once a bunch of people see that there's a great buying opportunity because XRP is being sold at a discount, that creates FOMO, and that's typically when we see these parabolic moves upward. And so I don't know when this is going to happen, and I don't really care. I don't care if it's a year from now. XRP is not going away; it's actually getting adopted, and there's going to be enough support from truly ardent supporters like myself, and there are tons of others the world over that will not sell XRP as long as we see it actually being in the process of being utilized, which you're seeing right now with developers like Ripple and Coil and Omni's working on it, and then there's Scooter Braun and others. And there's over 20 businesses supported through Ripple Spring Initiative. They received funding because they have use cases for XRP. So as long as I see that type of ecosystem being built out, I don't care about the people panic selling. So if you're afraid today, don't let anything I'm saying determine whether you buy or sell or hold or do any of that. I'm just sharing with you my opinion, but know that I feel for you if you're afraid in terms of the price action. I get it, because before I got the big picture stuff early on in my crypto days, it did emotionally affect me a little bit, but the more I learned, the more confident I behave that this is just how people behave, and there's no sign of it ending anytime soon, and that's part of the reason that institutional investors have the confidence to begin moving into the space. It's because they get the fact that crypto's not going away, okay? All right, now here's a tweet from Thomas Schilkjaer, and I still don't know how to say his last name, so I apologize if I'm butchering this every freaking time. But he tweeted this out. We thought the Gatehub thefts were done and over, but perpetrators have made a change of tactics, and several accounts have been emptied since the last reports of June 17, from 225 to 530 accounts emptied in this period. 530 down, and then he says 4,525 to go. And so that's amazing to me, because this tweet is from today, from this morning, and I thought that the hacks on Gatehub were over, but they are not. And it makes it that more clear why Gatehub, I mean, this isn't the right way to handle it, but I can understand why they've been kind of silent on this whole front. They should have handled it more like BitShrew's been praised for the way they handled their recent hacking attack. But Gatehub, on the other hand, pretty much radio silence there. So I thought I'd just point this out, and God forbid any of you still have any sort of XRP funds on Gatehub. Maybe move it, maybe put it on like a Ledger Nano S. That's what I did anyway. But I wouldn't keep anything on Gatehub at this point. That's not seeming safe. All right. Next piece here. I'm just going to touch on this. At some point, it would be fun for me to kind of flesh out the concept I'm about to share with you here. But here's this tweet from Buy Bitcoin. I just don't have time to really get into it right now, but I tweeted this from Tracy Alloway, and she's a journalist at Bloomberg in London. And here's what she tweeted. The New York Fed's recession indicator is now at its highest since 2008, and that's why Pomp tweeted out, buy Bitcoin in all caps here, and so you can take a look at the graphic. So here's the one point that I'm going to make on this, because I just don't have time to flesh this out any further, is in terms of the stock market, look at the United States stock market, NASDAQ, New York Stock Exchange. We've been in the greatest stock market bull run for over a decade. Now, on average, recessions occur every 7 years or so we are well past due for a recession. This is very peculiar, very odd that has not occurred yet. And so seeing something like this doesn't surprise me. I haven't seen this metric before, actually. To be honest, this is new, the first time I've seen this ever today. But still, I know that, again, recessions on average happen every 7 years, and they're usually not completely destructive, like not to the scale that you saw in 2008, which just shook the entire world. You had the stock market went down 40% or something like that. It's crazy. And so people panic sold in that market too, but 40%, yeah. And so I don't really have time to, like I said, to flesh this out much further, but I do want to say that it's what's been on my mind as it pertains to this asset class, just say stocks, and how it compares to crypto. The theory has always been that as like cryptos would be used as like a hedge, basically. So if like the stock market's not doing so hot, maybe more people throw money into Bitcoin. In particular, I'm going to be curious to see what activity occurs, to see how much truth there is to that the next time there is a notable crash, the next time we do go into recession, because there will be a recession. That's always going to happen. There will be mostly upward cycles, good growth, this and that, but there's always going to be recessions from time to time. And so I don't know if one's imminent, but I don't know how we could go another 5 years without. Wouldn't that be nuts? because we're already in record-breaking territory as is. And so what I want to watch for is, as this happens, is more money going to flee the stock market and enter crypto, especially as institutional money starts getting onboarded. And what will retail speculators do as a result of that? Will that give them more confidence? And so I think there's a possibility for that, but that's all I have time to stay on this for now because I need to get going. I actually have a meeting this afternoon, so hopefully I don't talk too much longer. That's for my real job. This is just a fun hobby. So I know sometimes I spend like hours a day on this stuff, so it's probably too much, but I just happen to be genuinely that interested. But anyway, so here's a piece from CoinDesk. Coinbase is in talks to launch its own insurance company. And let me read just a little part of this here. Cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase is in talks to set up its own regulated insurance company with the help of insurance broker giant Aon. Industry sources told CoinDesk, establishing captive insurance subsidiaries wholly owned by the firm being insured is a time-honored way for corporations to reduce costs and improve access to reinsurance markets. In parentheses, they state, a form of insurance purchased by insurance companies in order to mitigate risk. Nearly all Fortune 500 companies and thousands of mid-sized firms maintain captives, according to a December 2018 article in trade publication CPA. And so this is fascinating to me. So it's basically like Coinbase is setting up an insurance company that insures itself, basically. I hope I'm stating that accurately, because I'm not from this industry. I have no background in this. So to me, reading through this sounds genuinely fascinating. I was like, wow, I had no idea that's the way things were set up. And so I learned that today. And but yeah, the way I read it, that's exactly what it sounds like. And so the piece continues here. Coinbase and Aon see this structure as potentially part of the answer to the shortage of insurance available to crypto exchanges, the sources said. While Coinbase has obtained more coverage than most, often exchanges just self-insure by setting aside a bunch of coins to cover their losses in the event of a hack or disappearance of customer funds. The problem with that approach is its lack of a formal structure, creating the temptation to access the funds for other purposes and ambiguity about how much coverage a firm actually has. So that makes completely sense. So while they could, and this is, let me read this bullet point too, because this it cites who's doing this, just a couple of them anyway. It states, insurance for crypto remains scarce, and major exchanges Kraken and Huobi, I don't know if I'm saying that one right either, say they simply self-insure by setting aside coins to cover losses from thefts or hacks. And so this is the first I'd ever heard of this today. That's why it's so fascinating to me, and I had to share this with you. But so they're already doing it. They're setting money aside, so they are in that sense kind of like their own little insurance company, if you want to look at it like this. But by setting it up like this, it's supposed to make it much closer to impossible to move the funds around, because of course money is fungible. When you have one specific entity, it can be used for whatever purpose you want. And if you're not explicitly setting something aside that absolutely cannot be touched, it's hard to say that you're genuinely insured. So conceptually, that's neat. It's great that they're doing this, and I like that they're taking the potential of hacking seriously, because if Coinbase is ever hacked, which may very well happen, who knows? I mean, all sorts of exchanges are being hacked. Binance was hacked. And if that happens, I think it's going to instill more confidence in the consumer base if they know that they're backed as a result. Because again, this company is like the company backing itself, but that means that they'll be able to pay out customers. And of course, one would expect them to do that, or else the company would crumble and never come back. So one has to assume that they have a vested self-interest, and that's along those lines, and that's why they do this. So anyway, that's further developments within the crypto asset class. And that's why I keep saying, infrastructure is being built in general. And this is something that's internal specific to Coinbase, but I bet other exchanges are going to do that as well, and it's positive development. Next here, and this was a neat one also in terms of big picture stuff here, this is from CoinDesk today. Visa Blockchain Capital A16Z, and I don't know what that means. I am not from this industry, so I don't know what. CoinDesk, you should not have put that in the title. That's going to throw people off. The average person reading that does not know what that means, and it shouldn't be in the title. But anyway, Visa Blockchain Capital A16Z, unless that's a company name. Maybe it is a company name, and then I take that back. Back 40 million Series B round for crypto custodian Anchorage. Okay. And so let me read just a little bit of this to you here. Anchorage, a company providing crypto custody services for institutional investors, has just raised $40 million in a Series B funding round. In an announcement Wednesday, the firm said the round was led by Blockchain Capital, with Visa Incorporated and existing investors such as Andreessen Horowitz also participating. Anchorage has now raised $57 million in total funding since 2017. Diogo Monica, Anchorage co-founder and president, said, Our mission at Anchorage is to advance institutional participation in the digital asset class, and this funding will improve our ability to do precisely that. To have the support of pioneering organizations like Visa and Blockchain Capital is a validation of Anchorage's vision for the emerging economy of digital assets. And so this is substantial because, again, it's more of that infrastructure being built out. And part of the reason institutional investors haven't jumped into the space yet is because there were not appropriate custodian solutions here. And so there's part down here. I think that's exactly, yeah, here we go. I wanted to read this part to you too towards the end. The piece states, old style cold storage will not meet the requirements of institutions dealing in crypto of the future, according to Monica. He said users want to be able to make voting decisions and government's decisions in various protocols like Maker and Tezos, for example. They want to help the protocol succeed. They can't do that if their keys are just buried in the backyard, he told CoinDesk in an interview earlier this year. And so that's why this whole part of the infrastructure is still being built out. But again, so like I'm willing to bet, if I had to guess, there are a lot of institutional investors that are ready to jump in that haven't yet because they're looking for an appropriate custodial solution. And some are out there now, and more are being developed, and relationships have to be developed over whatever period of time. And if you're trying to sell the concept of being a custodian solution to a potential investor, you have to court them. It's really part of a sales process, and that takes time. So it doesn't just happen completely overnight. But I think we're going to be seeing sooner than later a lot more investment from institutional investors, and that's why even if they just put in a fraction, so they're not putting that much risk in, but if they want to see some asymmetrical returns, it absolutely makes sense. And I think that you're going to see, even as just a small percentage of assets are converted over to crypto holdings, as you see that there is going to be staying power for the asset class, that's going to result in trillions of dollars in total market cap value being developed, and tons of trillions of dollars just flow into the space. That's how I foresee this happening over some period of time. That's my best guess without making any sort of price predictions or putting a timestamp on it. All right, next piece, and this is from Peter Schiff here. He tweeted this out today. I have been gifted $2,800 worth of Bitcoin. Thanks to all for your generosity. What should I do with my stash? Number 1, use it now to buy 24-karat gold jewelry at mean.com for my wife. 2, ignore the FUD and hodl until Bitcoin moons and buy a Lambo for myself. And I like that. I do like that because this is the Moon Lambo channel, and he used both parts of my name in one tweet. I'm blown away. Peter Schiff, you the man. You're the man. And I actually responded to him. I don't know where it is in this thread here. It doesn't really matter, but I just responded, win Moon, win Lambo. Oh, there we go. Yeah, here I am. Win Moon, win Lambo. And then like all the idiots living in their mom's basements that are like prepubescent boys practically. To me, that's a stereotype, right? I spelled the word win with no H, so it's just W-N. So W-N Moon, W-E-N Lambo, ... 2 question marks. So there we go. And hopefully he'll get back to me. He hasn't responded as of yet, but when he does, and I'm sure he will, I'll be sure to let you know what Peter Schiff's response is to good old Moon Lambo here. And one more tweet from him, and then I got to wrap up this video. He tweeted out, Bitcoin's market dominance is now over 65% and rising as altcoins lose value. Many see this as validation that Bitcoin is the winner and is now digital gold. But if altcoins can collapse, so too can Bitcoin. That's one reason Bitcoin will never be a reliable store of value. Okay, that's complete nonsense, and I only have a couple moments to say a couple thoughts on this. I can flesh it out further, but this is silly. Bitcoin dominance at 65% doesn't mean that altcoins are gone forever. If you look historically, you can see that altcoins, they have what is typically referred to as the vernacular of choice is alt season. You guys heard of that? And that seems, historically, it has been a real thing. And some people think it's not going to happen this time, and that really it pretty much is just going to be Bitcoin. But those are mostly maximalists from what I see that genuinely believe that. For me, it's more about, I feel it's much more certain that coins with utility will have some sort of rally. That's why I'm behind XRP regardless. I will just keep doing what I'm doing. And that's good enough for me. But altcoins, by and large, they're not going to go away, and Bitcoin is in no danger of going to zero anytime soon. We'll see how, if it's a long-term store of value solution, if people are really going to perceive it like that, if there is no additional adoption with it. But there's always going to be utility to the crypto asset class. There will be a handful of winners and losers. My thought on that has not changed despite Peter Schiff's scary FUD tweet right here. So that's all I got for you on this video. Thank you so much for watching. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Take care.